Greetings, I'm Jeff Milson, executive with the Brantford Area Hall of Recognition, and I'm here today speaking with Mitch Mason, inductee. Thank you for joining us today.
You're very welcome.
So
Glad to be here.
I just wanted to ask you a few questions and get familiar with your experience with this whole endeavor with the hall and your history with your sport. So we usually start off with what drew you into your sport.
Well, it's funny because what drew me into the sport was when I was in grade school, and we always liked to get together and watch pro wrestling. And it was the Channel 11 Hamilton wrestling or out west wrestling with Gene Kiniski. But I loved watching pro wrestling, and when I went into North Park, I asked my phys ed teacher, Mr. Cromie, John Cromie, does the school have a wrestling team? And he goes, "Oh yeah, we have a good one. I coach it." So I joined, and
so perfect segue right into it.
Yeah.
Wow. So do you have any mentors other than that individual who sort of impacted you at that time and then throughout your career?
Well, in high school it was mainly John Cromie. He helped me out, kind of believed in me with things when I might not have believed in myself.
Yeah.
He thought I could do it, and so throughout high school, I'm sure I was a pain, but he coached me, and he was the one that directed me to the University of Guelph. And at the University of Guelph, my mentor there was a coach by the name of Londo Iacovelli. Londo was from Ithaca, New York, wrestled in the United States, and he coached the '76 Olympic team and was noted as a good coach, and it was a strong end for heavyweight wrestlers. So it was just a perfect fit for me. The team welcomed me. I had some really positive teammates there. But the two I would have to say are John Cromie for sure, and Londo Iacovelli.
So what would be some of your highlights through your journey with wrestling and your career with wrestling?
I guess winning a national championship. I won two Canadian University, I guess they call it youth sport now, individuals. I was a 3 All-Canadian, which is a highlight. One of the matches that I did win the Canadian University Championship in 1985, and I'm dating myself here, was against a guy by the name of Steve Danier, and Steve would have beaten me 9 out of 10 times, I think. But I met him in I had wrestled him once before. He had placed top 10 in the Olympics, was the Commonwealth Games gold medal, and he had educated me quite successfully on a previous match. So I went in the finals in Hamilton with him as a heavy underdog, and I was beating him at the end of the first round, and in the second round I caught him and ended up pinning him. So that was one of the highlights. Another highlight was I got to wrestle against the '82 national Russian team. When they come over, it was the old Soviet Union, and I can remember because it was just after Leonid Brezhnev had died, and we did the minute of silence and that. And I did a trade with the wrestler. The wrestler was the defending Olympic and world gold medalist, and I ended up going the distance with him, and that was a big deal for me because I was picked third to go in that, and the first two guys in Canada didn't want anything to do with him. So anyway, that was great, and I did make a trade with him with tops, and I still do have one of the old Russian CCCP tops, which is it's a neat thing to have.
Yeah, it's a nice memorabilia.
Yeah.
What obstacles would you have encountered along your way that you maybe discuss with your career?
Just injuries, I would say. I did an MCL, ACL tear, a broken leg, minor knee injuries throughout, and just a couple minor injuries, but probably the biggest one would have been my knee
It's hard.
and breaking my leg. That they were tough to come back from.
So, so what does it really mean to you to be inducted and to be part of the Hall?
It was a big deal because, number one, I was in amateur wrestling, which is a minor sport. And so you don't get a lot of people covering it.
Yeah.
It's you're not a household name or anything like that, but it kind of gives you just a sense of pride that you're recognized by your city and by your peers in the city. And, you know, to be in the same Hall of Fame as Wayne Gretzky, the best player to ever touch a puck, I thought that was a pretty big deal.
Yeah. So, if there was any up-and-coming aspiring wrestlers or athletes in general, what advice or suggestion would you have for them?
You know, the sport in the last couple of years has really taken a kind of a dive. COVID, that we've quit completely. They haven't had any competitions at any age group in Canada. Yeah. It was shut right down. I coach at a high school in Guelph at Guelph Collegiate, and a lot of my wrestling, in fact, I think most of them, wrestling wasn't even their favorite sport. They liked football or they liked rugby, and we talked them into how wrestling would help them, and some of those guys were my best OFSA placers. And so I would say to somebody, if you're playing another sport like football or rugby, which is huge in Brantford, give wrestling a try. It could help your game. If you found wrestling and you love it, listen to your coach. Don't be like me and not listen to them for a couple of years and have to be persuaded. Listen, if you get somebody who's better than you, pick their brain.
Learn from them.
Learn from the people who are better than you, and listen to your coaches. Train hard.
And you were freestyle wrestling.
I was freestyle, and I also did Graco Roman.
Oh, so both. Okay.
Yeah.
What are the differences between the two, or is there?
Graco Roman is just the waist and up, so it's a lot of upper body throws, body locks, things like that, snaps, but you cannot touch below the waist or it's a penalty point. Freestyle is amateur wrestling, but shoot the legs, ankles, whatever.
Right. So a little more technical as well.
Yeah, both are very technical. You have to really work. If you're a Greco specialist, which some are, a lot of them will only wrestle Greco. Freestyle is much more popular in Canada and the United States, but the United States has some strong Greco wrestlers. Canada has a couple of strong coaches, but again, most of the clubs here are freestyle. All the high school is freestyle, so that's probably what you're going to get introduced to.
Okay. Well, we really appreciate your time today. It's been a pleasure to meet you and talk with you. And congratulations on your introduction.
Thank you very much.